On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. There's definitely been a war declared, but not outwardly, not the way it would seem, not probably even how you're thinking. I'm going to actually connect these couple dots, I think. It's sort of been casually connected in a couple places. I don't know. It'll get more, I'm sure. But this, I think, is one of the key ingredients. And based off of how Trump's Truth Social posting has been going, I think I'm on to something. We'll see what you guys think when we get to it. I got a lot of video to share in this particular video, so up front, if it's a longer show, that is why. But I've got some big stuff. So big, this is all the Venezuela stuff. We'll talk about it, but I'm going to lead into it with some good stuff here. And so we'll get started. We'll get the ball rolling. I think you guys are going to enjoy the show. Wanted to start here because it's extremely important.
Remember that nothing.
It's very important, frankly, to remember these things, to remember to be inspired, to remember that we're inspiring others through our ripples. Powerful times, folks. You guys make a difference. It reminds me of a lovely lady that was sharing a story with me, and she went to the doctor's office, right? Dolly, sweetheart. And she went to the doctor's office and ended up kind of turning the whole thing into a different, exciting experience when most of the people were in there were not happy, were not in a good energy, and she walked in and lit the place up. That's what all of us do. All of us should be Dolly. That's what we should be doing. Right, Dolly? I think so. Hope your sister's jealous.
Remember that nothing worth doing is ever easy. You'll have bad moments. You gotta love what you're doing. And if you don't, just do something else. Keep standing up always for your values. Keep loving your country. And one of the most important things, never, ever quit. Never quit. Then ask yourself, what imprint will you leave in the sands of history? What will future Americans say we did in our brief time right here on Earth? Did we take risks? Did we dare to defy expectations? Did we challenge accepted wisdom and take on established systems? In my short time in Washington, I've seen firsthand how the system is broken. A small group of failed voices who think they know everything and understand everyone want to tell everybody else how to live and what to do and how to think. But you aren't going to let other people tell you what you believe, especially when you know that you're right. I know that each of you will be a warrior for the truth. Will be a warrior for our country and for your family. I know that each of you will do what is right, not what is the easy way. And that you will be true to yourself and your country and your beliefs. Remember this, nothing worth doing ever came easy. Following your convictions means you must be willing to face criticism from those who lack courage or the guts or the stamina to take it and to do it. It's called the road less traveled.
The road less traveled, not the one that everybody else is on. Again, like I've said, I've more or less lived my life using that as a mantra, as a guide. Where everybody is where I don't go. Used to love it. It was one of the first places I learned it, I think, was Easter egg hiding. You know, and you'd go to one of those places where they'd hide a bunch of Easter eggs. Like, everybody would usually fade off in a certain direction, and I'd be like, all right, we're going to go where everybody's not. Found all sorts of eggs. Had a great time. Generally speaking, I've almost never found the truth where everybody else was. Wisconsin judge convicted of obstructing arrest of illegal immigrant has resigned. She's been convicted. I don't know if she's actually going to get jail time or not, but she has quit. I believe there is an attempt to impeach her. I don't know if that's necessary once they quit. Maybe they want to do it anyways. Don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, quite the looker. Hannah's her name. Spelled backwards or forwards, it's still failure. It's awesome. Donald Trump posted this, and this is, well, disgusting. So these are all the countries, immigrants. So we got the country of origin. And it shows the percent of that population by immigrant country of birth. How many of them are actually receiving assistance from the federal government or state governments? I don't know if it breaks it down. So Bhutan is the worst. I don't know if there's like a small population of them that we took in, but 81% of them. Yemen, 75%. Somalia, 71% of Somalians in this country are receiving federal assistance. 71% of people from Marshall Island. Dominican Republic, 68%. Where else we got some? Iraq, 60%. Armenia, 60%. Guatemala, 56%. El Salvador, 55%. Mexico, 54% of people from Mexico receiving federal assistance. Again, not trying to be a dick towards any countries. Just saying. Vietnam, 42%. Ukraine, 42%. St. Lucia, which is that wonderful place with that band I played featured recently. Maybe you've never heard them, but it's a couple songs that they do that are really freaking good. Elevate, I think, is one of them, and I can't remember the other. Anyways, Grenada, Pakistan, 40%. Peru, 38%. What's the bottom? Let's go to the bottom, at least be nice. Bermuda, people that come from Bermuda, only 25% of them are on aid. But still, 1 out of 4. Are you freaking serious? So you're going to come, Saudi Arabia, one of the richest places in the world? Disgusting. Absolutely, horribly disgusting. And Marco Rubio, we've heard this before. Hopefully it's worth hearing again. It was to me, and I'm going to be hearing it even again. I love this. This is what we should be saying. And yeah, we're going to have some Democrats are going to fight this. They're going to fight everything we're doing, and of course they are. And we'll see why, and we do see why. And we see how scared they are because we are destroying the deep state machine. So it's going to be your rhino Republicans and your Democrats are going to be the ones that are going to cry the loudest. We are at war. It has been declared officially, and we are at war. Trump's doing it hard. You'll see, but we're setting the pace for it all. Here's Marco Rubio reminding visitors they should behave.
We revoked her visa. It's an F1 visa, I believe. We revoked it, and here's why. And I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country. So it's just that simple. I think it's crazy. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country that are going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot. I'm going to your universities to take over a library and harass people. I don't care what movement you're involved in. Why would any country in the world allow people to come and disrupt? Now, we gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses. And if we've given you a visa and then you decide to do that, we're going to take it away. I encourage every country to do that, by the way, because I think it's crazy to invite students into your country that are coming onto your campus and destabilizing it. We're just not going to have it. So we'll revoke your visa, and once your visa is revoked, you're illegally in the country and you have to leave. Every country in the world has a right to decide who comes in as a visitor and who doesn't. If you invite me into your home because you say, I want to come to your house for dinner, and I go to your house and I start putting mud on your couch and spray painting your kitchen, I bet you're going to kick me out. Well, we're going to do the same thing if you come into the United States as a visitor and create a ruckus for us. We don't want it. We don't want it in our country. Go back and do it in your country. But you're not going to do it in our country.
Finally, people that are standing up for America. I just, again, like many of us, we're excited about this. Trump's triumphal arch, his construction is going to be just 2 months away. That's, well, it's going to start. It's going to piss off everybody. It's supposed to be like that crazy one in France, reminiscent of Paris's famed Arc de Triomphe. Triumph. I don't know how you say it. And, so they're going to put one that's going to be amazing, probably going to be drizzled in gold or something crazy. I don't know. You got to put it up high so people can't steal it. Especially the next administration, if God forbid Democrats ever do get back in, which I don't think is going to happen. We've got a lot to happen, but the war, in my opinion, towards voting has begun. Now, I want to kind of remind people of this. This was going to be in a different place, but this really does set a larger stage, even for the financial parts. Kennedy's jaw hits the floor after learning Biden blew. We've, again, heard this, but this needs to be remembered. Biden blew $93 billion from the moment that Trump was the winner to when he left office. $93 billion. Let's call that $0.1 trillion in 75 days, 76 days. $0.1 trillion out the door. This is what the racket has been, and we were paying for it all.
The 76-day period you're talking about, that's the period between the time that President Trump was elected and President Biden left office. Is that right?
That is correct.
And during that short period of time, 76 days, how much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy?
From the Loan Program Office in loans and commitments, $93 billion. Well over twice as much as in the previous 15 years.
So how do you vet and do due diligence on a loan in 76 days? One loan, much less $93 billion. How do you do it?
I think it's probably pretty clear it wasn't done in many cases. As I mentioned, I'm told I'm holding back clearly in place stuff. There was lots of funds that have gone out the door and commitments that were made from businesses that provided no business plan, no numbers about their own financial solvency or how this project
So you're telling
work.
me that the Department of Energy, in the 76-day period, before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
Correct. A number of those were before the 76-day period as well. I've come in with great concern about how this institution, this great American institution, has been run and how American taxpayer money has been handled. I'm sorry everyone's upset that we're taking some time to do it, but what we've seen, what the record shows,
I'm
is
not
just
upset. Could it be that a lot of people say you haven't returned your calls? Could it be that you and your colleagues have returned the calls, but the people calling just didn't like the answer? Could that be a possibility?
I'm not aware of that. I give my cell phone number to any senator that wants it, and I return my calls.
I mean, has your department gone dark? Somebody said your department's gone dark. Is it dark over there?
It doesn't look dark behind me.
I don't see any of you sitting on your hands. Somebody made that charge. I see everybody's hands. Let me ask you something else, Mr. Secretary. Does anybody ever come to the Department of Energy to get some of this free money and lie to you?
I have not experienced that, but I think it's a reasonable assumption that has happened.
Does anybody ever come to you, or is it conceivable that some of these folks that heard about this free money came to you with a half-baked idea?
I think it's very conceivable. In fact, I've seen such plans that were half-baked would be charitable.
That didn't have a business plan, right?
Correct. A promise to develop one, to find a location.
Just give me the money and I'll develop the plan later.
Correct.
And now you're going back through not money that's already been contracted, but you're going back through and checking each one of these loans and these grants to make sure there was no stealing, aren't you?
We are.
And you make sure there was no incompetence, aren't you? Is that correct?
We're looking at that, and yeah, my blood pressure is rising right now just thinking about what we have seen and what did happen at the department.
And you're going to tell some of these boondoggles no, aren't you?
That's correct.
And they're going to be upset, aren't they?
That's correct.
And they ought to be upset, shouldn't they?
I don't think they should be upset. I think they should be ashamed.
I am. It's rare that I'm speechless. But I want to be sure I understood. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful. Confidence undermining.
My God. Look, I hope you take whatever time you need to go through all of these projects penny by penny. I mean, I've heard this testimony today. Well, it'll cost jobs in my state. If somebody steals $50 million and goes and spends the money in their state, that's going to stimulate the economy, isn't it?
Yes, it will.
But that's still stealing, isn't it? And it's still illegal, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, they were spending money at the Department of Energy like it was ditch water. Their budget went from $60 billion to $160 billion since fiscal year 2021. It just sounds to me like there were a lot of people coming to the Department of Energy who had all 4 feet and their snout in the trough. And I hope you'll turn down the boondoggles and refer the thieves to the Department of Justice.
We will indeed. Senator, the one complication in there, too, is mixed in there are good companies doing good things honestly with credible plans.
And you're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do. That's our job, and we're doing it.
The chaff. Yeah. We are at war. And it's finally gotten to the point. Government doesn't shrink. They never has. And when they got the COVID spending, and they continued to push past, they continued to spend that same money, coming to find out $50 million, for an example, being spent in one city. Oh, no, you can't take that away from me, says a lot of the senators and everybody else. Lauren Boebert, all pissed off because Colorado's not going to get their little money for their water treatment facility when they're effing over Tina Peters. What's she doing to help that? Sorry, Lauren. I mean, you got to make a noise, and I think that's what, it's probably all it is. Just got to be careful not to make it too personal, like Marjorie kept doing. Hence why she's going to be gone. One more day, I believe, is her final day. Yes, finally. Get rid of her. Undercover investigators are going to make sure retailers comply with the new food stamp regulations or restrictions. So that's all going to be happening with this new SNAP program. I believe there's 5 states or something that went live, and there's going to be a number of them over the year. They'll go live at different points in time. So this is a step in the right direction. And any place that doesn't properly follow the rules, if a secret shopper comes in and they'll almost always buy something that's not supposed to be with the SNAP card, I assume they're not going to buy a bunch of stuff because I don't know how that would work if they just donate it to food banks or what happens. Right? Because that'd be weird. You're driving around all day and this is your job is to audit people. And then what? You're going to, have a car full of crap that you've been buying in all these places because you got to get some normal stuff, I assume, with the bad stuff. Or if you're just going in to buy bad stuff, it's a crap audit. I've been secret shops. I used to be able to sniff them out from a mile away because they'd always do very, very weird, peculiar things as far as customers would behave. So it was just, I almost always knew. So then when they'd come back, I'd do all the things you were supposed to do that I would normally not do. And we'd get perfect scores. Sucker. Because I'm good. Needless to say. North America leads the largest liquid natural gas export surge since 2022, once Biden took office. We're making money again, folks, as a country. Again, this is where a lot of this absorption for the financial issue, whatever this is, however this change occurs, we're going to have to get off the Federal Reserve note in this debt-based stupid instrument that's not even, it's a private organization that's making money off of every single dollar they print. Every dollar they print, they get 2 cents. Every dollar. And we're printing them by the trillions now. So they're getting 2% off of that. They love the debt. These private companies, it's licensed in Puerto Rico. You can look it up, as well as the IRS for that matter. It's not even a federal company. That amendment was never ratified. Was it 13th, 14th, one of those? It was never ratified, the one that made taxes legal. It wasn't. It was done in the middle of the night. It was not properly ratified, and it wasn't, they didn't even have the votes. Like, it was not ratified. They just did it anyways. The bankers took over. The deep state took over. It goes way back to then and before, really. The Federal Reserve coming in 1913, they were already buddying up. Then they had a stock market crash that caused a lot of crazy behaviors, right? They've been doing it to us forever. Made in USA cars are going to be granted a Trump tax break. This just means that I think the final parts are assembled here for the most part. So again, the Camry, oddly, is the most American-made vehicle in America. You guys, seriously, that's a legitimate statistic. Look it up. Have fun with it. Dan, that can't be right. Sucker, look it up. I dare you. Camry, it was as of a year ago. I haven't talked to my brother about it recently, but it's still probably the case. 100%. It's the most, it was like 60-some% or something. I don't remember the exact percentage. It was surprisingly low, too, for me. I was like, yeah, really, that's it? I think most of the scrap's made everywhere else. It's just assembled here. Great car, though. And they sell a crap ton of Camrys. That's probably why there's so many of them on the road, because there's a lot of them made here. And it's just cheaper in that sense. So it's a good car for the price. So you're going to get a $10,000 write-off if it's the final assembly happens here. This is going to be another reason why a lot of car companies are going to want to come to this country and assemble the cars here. By doing that, it actually changes a lot of the shipping costs, changes a lot of things, and helps us get American people doing jobs that we're generally really good at, which is that final assembly. Not so much the minute manufacturing, which robots should be doing for the most part. We also don't have the advantage that like China has, where they've got slave labor, and there's other countries in the world that manipulate people and are able to compete in ways that we can't. We got to pay people, and we pay them well, as we should. Silver and gold. Silver's going to do its rebound, folks. This all has to do with paper contracts. This has a lot to do with, I have understood that Chase is actually one of the ones that seems to be kind of involved in a lot of the paper contracts, which supposedly the Clintons are kind of behind also, interestingly. So whatever the case is and however that plays, it doesn't really matter as much as silver's going to spike. It's assured. We saw the taste of it. They tried to force it back down, which they did. They wanted to finish off the year as low a number as they could because just the psychological impact of it. But we're seeing the manipulations. And those manipulations are biting the people that are doing the manipulations. Silver's going up and through the roof. And it's going to be bad. It's going to be hard for banks and stuff. There's just going to be a lot of craziness going on. Silver is one of the things you definitely want to pick up. Gold is inflation. Gold is a bobber on the inflationary waters. It will protect your wealth. It's actually higher than stocks. It's actually higher than inflation. At least it's been performing higher over the last year, which is not a good time to show this graph because 1 year, I'll do it that way. But yeah, it went from 26.47 up to 45.52. I don't want to do the percentages on it, but yeah, it's pretty good. And the stocks probably have not quite come to that level. So this is even slightly better than inflation for that matter. Silver is significantly higher, though. It's trading at multiples because of the manufacturing, because of where it's used. There's new technologies coming on that uses it heavily, and there's becoming shortages. And again, this is part of bringing down the Fed. Precious metals are going to destroy the Fed, especially the paper contracts. And I think that's one of the ways they're talking about. And some people have arguably said the liquidity issue that comes from some of these paper contracts and likely bond issues that we've got going on. There's so many problems that people just don't pay attention to that are actually happening and have occurred already to the point of no return. So we are in a place where this top is going to fall at some point. Just want to be as protected and ready as you can. I mean, that involves a lot of things. Foods, medicines, Second Amendment stuff, like just water filtration, ability to collect rainwater depending on where you live. Man, I don't know. You gotta figure it out in your way. Have which neighbors do what. Being able to make food, being able to hunt, whatever. So it just be prepared for whatever the worst possible thing is, and then hope for the best. And that's the best we can do. But things are showing all the signs of crazy. I did an interview recently with Peter Earl. Great guy. Had a lot of fun. You should check it out. Any one of my platforms. I uploaded it, I don't know, less than a week ago. It's a really, really good interview talking about gold and silver. You guys, just if you're in a 401k or an IRA, get out, or at least divest a chunk of that. Protect it. And if you can get a bunch of silver, I would do that. And these guys have it. It's actual physical metals. Tax-free, penalty-free. They're moving you sideways. Okay, if they give it to you, that's a payout, so you can't do that. But it's physical metals. It's literally put into a trust. It's yours. Tax-free, penalty-free. That's huge. First off, right off the bat, you're going to move as much of it as you possibly can. Now, you're going to get up to 10% free silver from Goldco just for using Goldco. They've got silver. They made purchases. They've acquired. They've done smart things. They've also gotten multiple suppliers. Goldco is very smart about how they do this, and they're awesome customer service. You'll love the experience. But up to 10% free silver for saying, all right, and here's the other kicker, which is funny. You get 4 data points that we want. You're going to hit the button. Yes, send me my free gold kit. And it's going to pop up a phone number. And if you call in 20 minutes, you don't have to, but if you can, and if you are serious about talking about this, you're going to get that free little Ronald Reagan coin. Thing's awesome. Got Ronald Reagan on the front. It's 0.999% pure silver. It's a U.S. coin. It is gorgeous. And it's worth literally a half ounce. So you look at that price. You should really go to Kitco when you look at gold prices. But the paper contracts is what's in the market. This is what we see here is paper contract prices, by the way. Kitco, I don't know how far off, but every once in a while you'll notice it's pretty far off compared to what it is for... oh, that's not it. Yeah, there it is. It's got the price. Silver at $72.89. So it's holding where the market is. Yeah, no, so it's a little higher. Oh, shit. But yeah, it's one of those things where as we pay attention, as we learn, as we expand and all that fun stuff, we are attacking my headphones. That's not cool. Yeah, but we're giving an opportunity to get the heck out. Like I said, if you can make the phone call, you're going to get the half ounce silver. It's worth half that right now. So what, $36 just for making sure you can make a call. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system. Get out of their nastiness before they get out of you. Before you lose. The Federal Reserve note's dying. How far it has to die before things occur, we'll see. But your buying power is going down. The cost of everything is going way up. That's inflation. You're seeing the price of gold going up. That's going to mark inflation. It's going to more or less match it. Protect your wealth. Silver's the spiker. Silver's going to triple. It's catching up. The ratio, we don't know exactly what it should be, but it's going to be a lot different than it has been, and the paper contracts have forced that. So get out of their system. drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system. All right, so corruption, voting. I want to tie this into Venezuela as well. Venezuela is where Dominion and all that stuff was. Venezuela, many would say, and this is one of the things many jump to, and I don't have anything yet to say further, but that we're going to get a hold of a lot of this equipment. Well, we very well might, because we'll share. Trump, we're going to stay there. We're going to be there a while. Second, China had an influence in there. That's going to stop because we'll be there. And the other interesting thing is they've also been managing elections in some 72 different nations around the world. Guess who's no longer going to be able to cheat in elections? Uh-oh. Is Ukraine going to suddenly not want to use Dominion? We're going to see something very interesting happen. The deep state, I think in some ways, have now been forced to reassess how they cheat. And frankly, it's going to have to go to paper ballots because if they use anything that's electronic, we now control the source code. Deep state's screwed. And when we look at how they've played the game leading up to now with elections and the stuff we're finding out, Trump posted a mad dog stuff all over the place. We're going to share a crap ton of it. That's why this is all truth posts. These are all Trump. Trump's been on fire today. Here is the start of this. Yeah, it's going to blow your minds.
Why would 1,000 people be registered to vote from one single location, 201 Washington Street Southwest? And when you come here, you realize that this is actually a church. What was happening when we were looking through the voter registration list from the previous election cycle is I noticed well over 1,000 people registered from one single location. Come to find out, it's a church. When we looked into it further, we realized what was actually happening here. It's actually a very well-organized plan by Democrat donors like George Soros. George Soros poured in millions into an organization here in Atlanta that did what? They went around this entire place and signed up all the homeless people. It's during the day right now, so you don't see all the homeless people, but usually this place is filled with homeless people. So an organization that supports Democrats received money from people like George Soros to go and register homeless people to be able to vote from one single place. And to make things even crazier, if we turn around, this place is directly across the Georgia Capitol. All it took for me is to find the voter list and to see why is there more than 1,000 people able to register from one place to realize that something is wrong here. The building right next to 201 Washington Street is actually a Catholic church. Well, guess what? This place, 48 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive Southwest, has registered over 2,000 people to vote from one single location. And guess who it was? It was the progressive organization signing up homeless people that are literally right across the street. It's freezing here in Atlanta. It's actually 35 degrees at 1 p.m. But usually all of this area is filled up with the homeless people. And again, we're outside one of these mega churches that ended up registering more than 1,000 people to vote from just one single place.
We're seeing all of it before our eyes. Right Angle News Network posted this. Journalists in Fulton County, Georgia have uncovered a massive homeless balloting harvesting. Remember, Biden won Georgia by 11,000 votes. And we've already come to find, 300,000 ballots that were, the chain of custody was totally destroyed. We saw in Georgia stuff removed from underneath tables and counted when everyone was sent home. Hundreds of ballots, certainly into the thousands possibly. We've got all these homeless people that are being signed up by NGOs voting, I bet, 100% probably voted Biden, 100% voted for Warnock and those guys. That's Georgia, yeah, right? Scott Presler just blew the lid off the Minnesota voter fraud thing. Scott Presler exposed this jaw-dropping stat. 500,000 voters, nearly 19% of all voters in Minnesota were registered on election day. 500,000 voters election day in Minnesota. This is Al Franken was elected by 312 votes. 312. Now add this insanity. One person can vouch for 8 migrants. One individual who's legal, I guess, can vouch for 8 people. 8 more voters that aren't legal. Don't need to be, doesn't matter. He's vouching. A vouch is good enough for me. That's not election integrity. That's a loophole factory. This isn't close. This isn't normal. This isn't democracy. This is how outcomes get engineered in plain sight. Minnesota needs a full forensic audit now. The Skiff posted this. Pennsylvania receives back almost 1 million more mail-in ballots than it sent out. And witnesses testify that non-election personnel uploaded USB devices to voting machines over 24 times during the 2020 election. Allegheny and Philadelphia County, Pennsylvania, received back 2.58 million mail-in ballots, but they only sent out 1.8 million. There is some 700,000 almost ballots that magically appeared. This is Pennsylvania. 700,000 magically appearing votes. Again, I don't think Trump lost this state by that much? Or what other senators barely won their races? This is interesting because I don't trust the CIA at all, and I think most of us don't. The real Robert, I guess, posted this. Today is January 1st, 2026. This is CIA analyst Michael Schroeder, PhD, confirms. Quote, do you believe votes were manipulated, changed electronically in favor of Joe Biden? And if so, how was it done? The Central Intelligence Agency toppled the United States government on November 3rd, 2020, live on national TV. A report, Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide. Data analysis finds 221,000 Pennsylvania votes switched from President Trump to Biden. 941,000 Trump votes deleted. States using Dominion voting systems switched 435,000 votes from Trump to Biden. That was the weird spikes we saw in all the data. Was it this when Jack Smith testified and said that the candidate who ran for the presidency of the United States, Donald Trump, did not have a First Amendment right to say the 2020 election was stolen? Same guy. This is, again, more about the Dominion voting systems. Dominion was based in Venezuela. We are now in control of these facilities. Keep that in mind.
I found that there were about 25,000 ballots that were not printed from the official Dominion PDF ballot. In other words, the printing process, appearance, is completely different than what you would get from a first-generation PDF printing.
We had approximately 25,000 ballots that were not created from the PDF that is used for the election process. So in other words, the election provider comes up with ballots, and it's specific to a geographical area, because the person that lives in this neighborhood might not be voting for the same people that live in that neighborhood or another neighborhood. So here in Maricopa County, from memory, you had 5,012 or something like that, just over 5,000 different permutations and combinations to the ballots. Then that's multiplied by 2 because there's a Spanish version that's available for each one of these ballots. But it's the same ballot with the same people, just in a different language. So we've got we'll just say 5,000 different ballots for now that are created ahead of time, and those are created in PDF. Now, the big reason why is that you have a third party send out mail-in ballots, so those have to be created in advance. And second, for your early voting, you have vote on demand. So in other words, even if I live way out in the corner of the county, but I work downtown, I could go to something downtown that could print my ballot from my area, and I could vote here. It's convenient. A lot of people do that. So these PDFs are created in advance. They're obviously good quality PDFs, and when they're printed, they should look roughly or exactly the same. In this group of ballots, I find that the quality is severely degraded from what a PDF would be as if printed on demand, or if printed by your third-party provider who prints these all the time.
I'm Eric Spakeen. I'm a forensic chemist and a forensic document analyst. That means I deal with all aspects of question documents, when they were made, if they've been altered, changed, or added to, and how long ink has been on paper. I was asked if I had experience in election matters to look at primarily printing processes, machine copied marks, CPS code, which is a counterfeit protection system. And I said that I did, and I traveled to Arizona with 3 other people from my office that I had. Number one is that there were a series of ballots that I examined the photographs of, and Dominion, as the election subcontractor, produced ballots for each of the zones or districts that were involved, at least in the area that I looked at here in Maricopa County. And there were 5,000 approximately, a little over, different ballots. As you know, in a state there could be 2 different senator races, there could be 10 different House races, and all the permutations and combinations is what gives you the 5,000. So they create a final ballot for each one of these districts or zones or regions, so that when you go in and you give your name and it knows you're from this area, you would get this ballot to vote on all the issues that pertain to you, and only the issues that pertain to you. And I found that there were about 25,000 ballots that were not printed from the official Dominion PDF ballot. In other words, the printing process, appearance, is completely different than what you would get from a first-generation PDF printing. As you can imagine, the lines are perfect. So they're perfectly straight, no breaks in them, the circles or ovals as they may be, and they're a solid line. When I examined some of the early voting ballots and election day ballots from various polling locations, there were about 25,000 that did not have printing from this perfect PDF, as you would expect, but instead had breaks in all the same places around an oval. So you can look at one of the ovals and there are imperfections in the line, and they're in the same place on every single one of these ballots.
These 25,000 unidentifiable ballots alone represent over double the amount of Joe Biden's 10,457 vote mark.
In July of 21, actually before that, we told them in June, we told them that we suspected, from what we're seeing, 25,000 plus counterfeit, inauthentic ballots. That was early on in the process. Again, because of propaganda by the GOP's attorney, the GOP, other conservative operatives, they planted the seed inside this that you can't trust that, no, that's not it, etc. You'll hear more about it. But every one of the people up there knew this in advance, even of this hearing today. Now, the reason I bring that up is they had well over a year and a half to react to this so it wouldn't be duplicated in 2022. But they didn't. They did nothing, and they allowed it. They enabled this to be done again.
This was always the plan. This is always what they've been trying to do. They've been controlling the elections around the world. Did I say have been? Interesting. So let's talk about Venezuela. We're going to play this 5 minutes of Trump. It's most of his speech, and I think it'll cover us from that standpoint, which I was stoked about. Then I've got little snippets of other parts. It was actually, I watched the whole thing. It was really good. I wanted to play it. I was even thinking like playing it at the end, like at 1.5 speed, but it would still have been like 27 minutes long or whatever. It was like really long.
For air, land, and sea.
And I'm already going to be long enough as it is with everything I'm trying to share with you guys. So anyways, here's Trump. This is about 5 minutes of his speech. I probably can speed it up. Can't, can I? Yeah, buggers. Really? Just quality. Oh well. Is what it is. Here's 5 minutes. Trump doing a pretty bang-up job telling us what the hell happened and putting his spin on things.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, it's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, maybe like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
Yeah, so they are going to kind of take ownership, right? A couple things that jumped out at me that I think are worth pointing out. Well, two things. Remember how Trump was showing the pictures of the Hawks? Nice, let's fix this. How the Hawks/Eagles were being killed, and then the windmill they showed was 13. Just interesting that Maduro was captured on the 3rd, January 3rd, 1/3. Again, I'm not normally one to jump down that path, but it just dawned on me this morning. I'm like, that coincidentally the same day. That's interesting. Whether that represents something else or who knows? Who knows? Again, I'm not trying to pee on anybody's theories. So we captured him. It went down that way. A lot of different evidence of how this full thing played out. I think this is the military options. I'm going to try to string a bunch of these videos together rather than jumping in and talk about them. So there's just going to be a lot of different kind of stuff that it's people that are seeing it, just different angles of the attacks. It's very interesting, and it kind of brings up that second part that I kind of wanted to just poke into your head if I could. But we know China was involved there. We know Cuba was heavily involved there. We know Dominion and all these probably other things. Chevron, they stole our oil-producing facilities and whatnot right out from under us. Literally stole it from us under force and duress. And so that's kind of why Chevron still got a deal. is because ultimately they're the American company that had a deal down there, and they're the ones that got stolen from. So they're going to invest a lot of money into fixing stuff and getting everything working properly. Venezuela's going to get a bunch of the money from that, but some of that's going to go back to, the investment that they've got to put in. But they've got the pockets. But think about some of the attacks that happened and what sorts of facilities might have gotten hit. Facilities maybe utilized by a bunch of communist people, right? Venezuela would offer up some of its hubs, command and control, to China, to Cuba, and we might have popped those out of existence. It just makes me wonder. Some of the targets, typically you're going to be command and control right off the bat. Your C4, I think is what they call it typically, I think. But yeah, command and control. Take them out, and then you start kind of working out from there. Maybe they were worried about some of the SAM sites or the S300 sites, which is super old technology. They also talk about, Trump mentions, how we seem to have some ability to make it go dark. Space Force was also involved in this attack. So we're seeing a little bit, and I think everybody is being shown a little bit of what we can do. You guys might have a bunch of ships. Cool. That's woo, right? You might be able to shoot a bunch of rockets off your coast. Yay. We literally can fly into your country unobstructed, steal you in the middle of the night, and go our merry way with you. That's what we can do. This is some crazy stuff. I want to share a bunch of stuff. Check it out. That's us. Those are all our helicopters.
Mira esa mierda, explotaron allá toda esa mierda porque tú no estás explotando. Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esa mierda, ¿oyó? Huevo. Marico, llegamos a tiempo a la casa, ¿oyó? Marico, mira esa mierda. Se está explotando una verga por allá. ¡Uy! ¡Nos están invadiendo! ¡Nos están invadiendo! Están bombardeando la base, mamacuevo. ¡Jesús, vámonos! ¡Ya va! Se está explotando una... Dios mío. Ahorita se prendió en candela, weón. Viene otro, viene otro, viene otro. Dale, vamos a salir aquí. Dale, dale, dale.
Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance. Until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around and he found out. President Trump is deadly serious about stopping the flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people. This is America first. This is peace through strength. And the United States War Department is proud to help deliver it. Welcome to 2026, and under President Trump, America is back.
Now, I want everybody to notice, too, Trump's speech as well as his speech are all on paper. This was not put into any software system anywhere, which is where some of the leaks are coming from as well. We've come to find out. The people actually loading up the teleprompter. They weren't going to leak this one at all. We are at war. Venezuela names acting president, the VP. Her hair seems oddly dark. Oddly dark. Trump says the U.S. will run Venezuela. I think, did we share this part already? I don't know if we did, but here's him saying that.
Venezuela.
In a weird way. He was on the other side of the world, and so because of that, he was sideways.
Venezuela.
Mr. President. Rubio would be. You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. Just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Mr. President,
Venezuela.
Make Venezuela great again. I like the sound of that, don't we? Marco Rubio says Venezuela's VP Delcy Rodriguez isn't a legitimate leader. Is there problems in paradise, one might wonder?
This is not about the legitimate president. We don't believe that this regime in place is legitimate via an election, and that's not just us. It's 60-something countries around the world that have taken that view as well, including the European Union. But we understand that there are people in Venezuela today who are the ones that can actually make changes. So, for example, when we want to send in the migrant flights, even though we never recognized the Maduro regime as legitimate, we had to deal with the authorities that controlled the airport. We had to deal with the people who had guns and the people who had control of the airports. We had to deal with them to achieve these objectives. That's different from recognizing their legitimacy. Ultimately, legitimacy for their system of government will come about through a period of transition and real elections, which they have not had.
Nope. Not because, well, they've been controlling elections. That's what they do. Gotta love it. Here's President talking to them about the capture of the Venezuelan dictator.
It was slightly busy, I would say. It was very dark all over, especially in Venezuela. The team did an incredible job. They rehearsed and practiced like nobody's ever seen. And I was told by real military people that there's no other country on earth that could do such a maneuver. If you would have seen what happened, I mean, I watched it literally like I was watching a television show. And if you would have seen the speed, the violence, you know, they say that, the speed, the violence, they use that term. It was an amazing thing, an amazing job that these people did. There's nobody else could have done anything like it.
Yeah. Again, the explosions, the secondaries, this is weapons facilities or something. I mean, who knows? They're not blowing up energy infrastructure. They're blowing up command and control. This is not an extended war. You're not trying to go to war against a nation. These people are actually stoked, in fact, that this has happened. Now, the Trump administration, I don't believe it was mentioned in any of the stuff I've shared. But Trump talked about how they didn't share this with Congress because Congress leaks. Trump administration informed the Gang of Eight of Venezuela operation after it had already started. Now, of course, they're pissed, but the problem is they leak. And they're not supposed to. That's against the law. There's some more Guantanamo stuff, if you guys want to think of it that way. It's coming, guys. It's coming. A lot of things have to happen. Getting our elections under control, getting actual leaders in Congress that will do what we need to do, and then dealing with the financial collapse of the government, the capital letters United States of America, but the corporation, and getting back to the actual republic. the camel case United States of America. Trump might become the 17th president. Again, a lot of people worried about who's Vance going to be in charge. Let's seriously we're 1 year in, and let's try to get some shit fixed while we can. Let's stop worrying. They've got us distracted in so many different ways, and it fascinates me how many people run off down the distraction. But it's like we've got to stay kind of focused on the key important things. The election. If we don't get a fair election, it is over. Now, again, Trump is doing stuff. I think it's important to ripple about this. But again, please, ripple to your delight. I want you to continue rippling. I don't want you to just, insist upon the crazy that I talk about. But canceled flights across Caribbean resume, so everything's back to normal, it seems. No more expectations of blowing stuff up. Russia, Iran, China, outraged at the U.S. flagrant armed aggression. Now, again, this is where Trump's been like, you keep blowing up Ukraine like crazy, man. What's going on, man? So Russia, you can't say shit. China, you're about to go into Taiwan. So there's a middle finger to you. And Iran, please. Iran, please. N-word, please. Good God. It's like craziness. So whatever. F them. F them in the F-hole. And again, honestly, love all these countries. I have good friends there's some really beautiful women in all of these countries too, by the way. Just from a man standpoint. Visualizing all of the world's oil reserves by country. Actually, Venezuela is the largest amount of oil, which is interesting. Now, what a lot of people may not fully understand is the oil equipment facilities were stolen from us. Chevron, United States company, was down there, made deals, whatever. Whether they were good or bad, don't know. But when this whole communist thing switched, because Venezuela used to be one of the richest nations on the planet. When that switched to socialism / communism, soon to be, it became, I should say, but started at socialism and then it became communism. And the nation was a wreck. People literally were eating anything. People didn't have pets anymore, outside anyways. Well, probably at all. Literally, people were eating whatever they could find. Field mouse running by, dinner. Like protein. That's how bad it got. So they're stoked we're there. But yeah, there's a butt ton of oil. 303 billion barrels, I think they're saying. Oof. 5 takeaways they're saying from this. The one that jumped out at me, and the rest of them I care less about. But this was a good point. Iran has probably paid close attention. As I said earlier on, we were able to fly in, turn the lights out, land our helicopters, capture you, take you away, and fly you back to the United States for crimes. So the Ayatollah of Iran is probably a little nervous. I would assume Kim Jong-un is maybe a little concerned as well. Like, you better make friends again, little rocket man. The wrong people are being put in their place. And this will play out also over this year. And we're already spinning up a little bit of anger towards Iran. Trump is kind of getting on board with this. So apparently there's something that needs to happen. And so noise has to be made before it can happen. They gotta go to the world courts and all this. Like, here's what we're basically going to do. We're going to smoke them in the boys' room. Venezuelans celebrate U.S. arrest of Nicolas Maduro. So they're friggin' stoked. This is a real famous one that's out right now. I have no idea if we'll know what he says.
I hope you have your coffee when I tell you this, but these are great news. All eyes on Venezuela. These are historical news. This is history in the making. I mean, my chest, it feels like it's going to explode.
My chest, I cannot feel my chest. It's incredible. No, these guys are stoked. Absolutely. Stoked. Maduro, wife, jeered. They actually got the perp walk. You guys wanted to see a perp walk. Maybe this is the first arrest? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This is an arrest. This is maybe the first arrest.
Good night. Good night. Happy New Year.
That was nice of him. Happy New Year. Very good. He was in gray sweats when they had him in the helicopter. I don't know if we got that photo anywhere, but China slams the hegemonic U.S. attack on Venezuela. Yeah, they're pissed because we just fucked up a lot of stuff that they've invested in. Guys, I'm telling you, there's so much more to this Venezuela thing. We'll never know about it. Never. Again, 20%, right? It's the iceberg. Most of it we'll never see. China's so pissed. Too late, mofos. What are you going to do about it? So many elections. The infrastructure's toast. My good friend, Tiffany Meyer. I like the curly hair girl. Anyway, she's one of the two that I adore. She's gotten so famous, I never see her on the small stuff, but this was pretty good. 4 Chinese firms that had ties with Venezuela that are a little miffed right now.
The U.S. imposed sanctions Wednesday on 4 Chinese companies and vessels tied to Venezuela's oil sector. It's the Trump administration's latest move against Venezuela's Maduro regime. And this time, it also sends a rare but strong signal to the regime's close ally, Beijing. The U.S. Treasury announced the newly sanctioned firms on Wednesday. One of them is based in southern China's Zhejiang province, and the other 3 are based in Hong Kong. That's alongside 4 oil tankers with ties to those firms. U.S. officials say the global shadow fleet transporting Venezuelan oil has been serving as the regime's lifeline. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also said the U.S. will not allow the Maduro regime to profit from oil exports while it floods America with deadly drugs. Zooming in on China's role in Venezuela's oil industry, China's private crude refiners account for about 1/5 of the nation's refining capacity. About 95% of the Venezuelan regime's revenue comes from oil, and China is its biggest buyer, despite U.S. sanctions. Just one day after the U.S. announced the sanctions, Maduro said his regime is willing to hold serious talks with Washington. That could include allowing U.S. investment in Venezuela's oil sector and cooperating with the U.S. on combating drug trafficking. The comments published on New Year's Day come as the U.S. ramps up military and economic pressure on the regime, accusing it of fueling the drug crisis in the U.S.
Just love the way she talks. Am I wrong? There's some weird cultural thing, isn't there? Some cultures, anyways, where if you got big buttons, like that's like you're rich, like you're doing well, especially when they're like all shiny. I don't know. I think there is something. Whatever. Senate's gonna vote next week to block Trump's military action against Venezuela. We literally got some Democrats and Rand Paul are wanting to put this vote forward. All it needs is a majority to pass. Somehow they would be able to stop it, though there is plenty of court cases and things that exist that would suggest that the Trump administration could sue for the law, whatever, because there are certain things that have been allowed to happen. This is weird times that we're in right now. Noriega was one of them that they did the same basic thing, and it was accepted. There's all sorts of case law to back up what Trump did. Of course, they're going to come after him, especially Rand Paul. Ritardo Paulo. Mayor Mamdani's comrades in DSA demand Trump release Nicolas Maduro. Solidarity with the Bolivarian Revolution. Now, it will be interesting to see, because he is in New York. It's a federal thing. But it'll be very interesting to see if some sort of district judge does something funky with this. You watch. It'd be interesting. I am excited about how this is all playing out. Is he going to let him out of jail, Maduro? I can't wait. Supposedly Maduro gave a thumbs up. Like, yo, what's up, man? He was wearing gray sweats in the plane, though, when they had the weird goggles on him. I don't know if we got that picture anywhere. Yeah, protests erupt in New York City. Everyone's pissed. Communist flags. All right, that's enough of that nonsense. But yeah, communist flags everywhere. And so again, this is just a bunch of people. One, a bunch of stupid white people. Two, a bunch of people that was like, oh, I just want to be a part of something that's progressive so I can feel good about myself. And then you probably got a bunch of illegal immigrants involved in all this Soros-funded nonsense. Good stuff. Trump also basically told the leader of Colombia he better watch his ass. Another leader that shouldn't be where they're at and is likely going to face the wrath. Again, it would be interesting. We may not need to bring a fleet over on that side. I've been wondering for a while if we were going to do that. Two reasons, because I think when the Taiwan thing happens, and I've been saying this, I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with a carrier group over on the Pacific side of the Caribbean, basically. And why? Because I think we're going to take Panama Canal back, period. End of story. That will become ours. China will have nothing to say about it, and they will be out. They will be removed. They will be blockaded. They will be whatevered. China's trying to build a railroad. They already know this is happening. China's played some cards and gotten caught. They've been screwing with elections here in the United States, which is a war thing. Trump's at war with China right now. It's a financial war. We're going to win it, but it's crazy. Guys, I want to remind you, the Wellness Company, they're incredible. They've got so many good products that are going to help you be prepared for the worst. And in some cases, be healthier, which is something I'm very, very fond of. Just forcing you to think healthier. Oh, what's a healthier way? Oh, wow, it's probably a healthier choice. Yes. They've got all those things. twc.health/OTF. TWC, the Wellness Company. twc.health/OTF. They've got these beef boxes. These shocked me. I was very shocked by the beef boxes. They're super good. They are super good. They come frozen. They're frozen, by the way. They're sealed perfectly, though, so they store well. But they've got some really good choices. I got this one last time, the Cattleman's Lean Meats. Lean meats are great, but you got to get some fattiness, too. So the ribeye is what I wanted. I didn't get it because, what was it? I thought it had the flank steak. I don't know. For some reason, the flank, I'm like, and the hanger steak. I was like, nah. So I got this. I'm like, this is cool. Filet mignon, top sirloin, London broil. I mean, yeah, that's some good stuff. And making the London broil, I'm looking forward to doing that. That'll actually be delicious. I got a pressure cooker, too, man. That thing, it's magic. What you can do with that thing, All said. These are the beef boxes. Now, again, contagion kit's a big one. I talk about this all the time. This is for people that are very sensitive to the flu. You get the flu, and it'll mess you up. This thing actually helps with lice and all sorts of crazy shit, by the way. And I'm still tripping on it, but I'll be honest. Since I've done the parasite cleanse, even prior, since I started taking, because I had a bunch of ivermectin that was going out of date, so I took that for a while, and then I got the parasite cleanse. Like, I was doing ivermectin for a while. I've been doing and it's not something I think I need to do daily, but then once the parasite cleanse started happening, I was like, oh, which, by the way, they have parasite cleanse. It's incredible. But I was like, oh my God, this is like actually changing things, affecting me in like cool ways. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. The guy that out in the mountain time told me rheumatoid arthritis, RA. Right now, he's saying he's healed. He's got another test coming up, but it's been, he's going to get pissed if I misquote him, but I'm going to misquote him because I don't really give a shit. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. He's been rheumatoid arthritis healed, specifically RA. And he gets pissed at me if I say anything outside of that, right? I don't want that. I don't want to upset the guy. He's mountain time. Who knows what's going to happen? So we've got all sorts of things that are being affected by this parasite cleanse, which is another one of their products, so you should check it out. It's under their ivermectin side, ivermectin collection. They've got a skin cream and all this stuff. But this here, this has a number of things in it. Ivermectin, yes, sweet. Hydroxychloroquine, yes, sweet. It's also something I've been taking some of that had go out of date. They had azithromycin, which is an antibiotic. And that's one of the things that helps. It's for upper respiratory, specifically your lungs, right? So if you get the flu, that's where you get shocked, screwed up. They've also got this generic Tamiflu, which is an antiviral also. And I think this helps when you start getting into some of that heavier upper respiratory stuff. And then, of course, they've got budesonide, which is like that asthma medication, and they've got the nebulizer. And so if you are seriously like, I can't breathe, like you've got 5 vials. Like, it'll save your life if you are sensitive to the flu. Okay? And call the flu whatever name you want to give it, but ultimately that's the flu. Again, ivermectin collection, the parasite cleanse, check it out. Appetite stuff. Drop is something a lot of people are really liking. It, to me, seems like they put all their weight loss stuff or appetite control, all that stuff into one location. This thing literally helps with your metabolism. It helps you have appetite suppression, and it supposedly helps you lose weight just in general, which generally speaking, when you eat less, you tend to lose weight. It's just the way it works out. But you want to make sure you're being healthy about the foods you are choosing. Kind of one of the reasons why I like Feel Great, that product that made it and all that stuff, because it's more of like you're still eating and you're still doing your diet. You're just reducing how much you eat, losing your, I don't know. But this stuff works. People are noticing it. It's crazy how good it is, and it's doing all that stuff at the same time. So again, I'm in this weird quandary when it comes to these two products. People are loving Drop, big time. People are loving Unicity, big time. So there's a couple ways, and I talk about both of them, but right now it's not the time really to talk about the other. All said. They've got TheraBlue pain gel. They've got this plastic detox stuff. They've got stuff if your gums are receding. They've got everything. They've got it by goal over here. Just a great website, the way it's laid out. They've got memberships. They've got healthcare, talk to a doctor. You can do telemed. And it's doctors. All this stuff is prescription-based, and they mail it to your house. It's freaking awesome. Again, I've taken advantage. I got the Contagion kits in my bathroom right now. I've got the second one of these. I feel like there's something else I've gotten from them. Great products. Oh, the meat downstairs. And I got jerky sticks, which I still haven't opened because I swear to God I'm going to eat the whole damn thing when I do, unless they're super hot. But the Wellness Company Beef Farms, they threw these in free. I was like, Love that. It's twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. I'm telling you, healthy choices. It's all about the way you think. Thinking is going to get us all through this. If we get you all focused in the same general direction, you will be amazed at the miracles that we see. A lot of protests are pissed off at Gavin Newsom and, of course, Karen Bassface. It's the Gas Face song. That's really hard reference. Nobody knows the Gas Face. It's a pretty funny song. The Gas Face. Both these bastards get the Gas Face, too. If any of you know the song, they deserve the Gas Face if anybody does, right? Of course. But yeah, people are pissed at him. It's a year anniversary, I guess. And it has been a year. I swear to God, it feels longer than that to me. I don't know if you guys are the same way. I swear to God, it feels like it's been 2 years. Time's tripping me out right now, a lot. I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same form of dilation that I am, but I swear to God, it feels like we're going through a evolution of some kind. I don't know what else to call it. Donald Trump truth this out. Johnny Midnight sharing it. Just wait till we see the massive frauds in California, and we'll really blow the lid off his run for president. And that's the expectation and hope. We'll make a lot of noise. There's Gavin Newsom being arrogant, because this guy's going to run for president. So shutting that down every step of the way as he tries to rise up is going to destroy the deep state. They are so screwed because they can't get any energy on anybody. This is the only guy they got right now that's got any energy potential. And it's odd to me how much he reminds me of, who's the dude that drives the Chryslers all the time down there in Texas, McConaughey or whatever the hell? He reminds me of him a little bit. Then, he's perfect for politics. Perfect smile, perfect hair, perfect face, perfect everything. He's the perfect, you talk about Manchurian candidate, Newsom. And he's been brought up in one of the 4 families here in California that own and run California and have for over 100 years, way over 100 years. California has been owned forever. So we are experiencing their demise, their failure. And it's, well, like I've said before, it's fun. The movie's awesome.
Let me start by asking you, where have you been? $522.2 million shortfall.
Working the line right now. We doubled the National Guard. We have 1,600.
Last year we had a 570.
Wait a minute.
5.6. Hank, I'm here to talk about today and tomorrow. Not yesterday. I've been working my tail off. I've been out. I think I had 69 public events in the last 2.5 weeks.
You know, I heard you say that on the radio today,
yeah.
And then I asked your staff, well, where's the printout? Where are these events? And your press person said, well, this is stuff he just goes to.
Yeah, these are all public events, right. Yeah. So.
But look, you know the criticism that you have been dodging, not just the press, but also the public, that you have been sulking after dropping out of the governor's race, that you're having a temper tantrum. What do you want to say about it? You know, it's not just the press. though, that you've been absent from? I mean, I have a list of the events that you have missed.
Which ones?
Well, you want a few. The Urban Land Institute, you were scheduled to speak before 6,000 people.
I had the flu that week.
The China SF conference that was also there, they were counting on you. The Silver Spur Awards luncheon.
That was the only one I missed that I actually knew about. I took
2,000 people.
After I think you're focused on the Spur. I actually wish I had made. I was sick as a dog, and that was on a Monday, and was gone for 3 days.
Salvation Army luncheon honoring your chief of staff.
I was never scheduled to be there. I was at 3 events at the exact same time.
Bullshit.
Off the record, I'm amazingly disappointed. Amazingly. I just am, personally, you know?
What a dick. What a dick. So California DMV software impacts about 325,000 real ID holders. These are real IDs because they extended the date for the license further than they should. These people are being told to get things get it squared away, get it fixed. They're pissed. A lot of them aren't going to be able to drive anymore because they're not supposed to be here anymore. So the ones that are here illegally will not be able to continue to have real ID or a commercial driver's license. It's going to suck for them. Big time. Minnesota judge throws out a unanimous guilty verdict in a $7 million Medicare fraud case. Who paid this judge and how much was she paid? I did talk about this story. This chick does a great job. I'm very jealous that she's able to do the off the shoulder. Just chicks, you guys got things you got to tolerate. That's for sure. Problems in the world, dudes taking advantage. All that, I get it. But man, you can just be so sexy and it's unfair. It's unfair, I'm telling you. I'm just jealous. That's all it is. Just jealousy. And maybe because it works for me. But yeah, Minnesota judge overturns this fraud conviction. She obviously got some money. I think it was had to do with the investigations. What the hell's plate?
This is Minnesota Judge Sarah West. Judge Sarah West was the judge that oversaw a $7 million Medicaid fraud case. And despite the fact that the jury convicted him unanimously, Judge Sarah West said, no, we're not going to be doing that today. Now, she claims that she threw out this unanimous guilty verdict due to the fact that all of the evidence presented was merely circumstantial. Now, what was this circumstantial evidence, you may be asking? Well, Abdi Fattah Yusuf and his wife were running a home health care service out of their home, and despite the fact that their business is inside of their house, they were able to afford all of these fancy trips and luxury vehicles and these thousands of dollars of shopping sprees. So the math wasn't really quite mathing. So not only in Minnesota can you absolutely rob the state blind with fraud, but even if you get convicted by a unanimous jury, a judge will still let you off the hook. Isn't that special?
It is all so we can see it. All the district judges that are blocking Trump, these judges that are literally letting criminals off because they're bought and paid for. Bridget Fertig. Was Minnesota State Rep Melissa Hortman murdered because she voted against and was exposing a multi-billion-dollar money laundering fraud going to illegal immigrants in Minnesota? The fraud that she voted against that heavily implicated illegal aliens, specifically Somalians, who have been racketing this kind of childcare, healthcare rackets, and cooperating with our corrupt government. Trump shared this. And that's likely the case. This is borderline hilarious because they desperately try to stop this dude from saying what he's saying about the specific attorney general. If you pay attention, it's only a minute plus long, but it's...
Recently released audio recordings reveal conversations that happened between the attorney general and individuals who were later implicated and in some cases convicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. In those recordings, the attorney general...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
State your point of order.
Masons 124, paragraph 1, in debate, members must confine remarks to questions for the body and avoid personalities. The debate here is not any individual. It is the policy and the amendment.
Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General was asked in those recordings to use his authority to protect businesses under investigation for wrongdoing, and rather than distance himself or remain neutral to allow the legal process to unfold, he responded in those recordings, "Of course, I'm here to help."
Mr. Speaker, point of parliamentary inquiry.
State your point of parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, there was a point of order, and I didn't hear a ruling or any resolution of the point of order. Was there a resolution to it?
I'll remind the body that there was no ruling made by the Speaker as to the point of order that was just stated. Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General in those recordings even urged the individuals, let's go fight these people. He was offered campaign contributions during that meeting, contributions that he later accepted. The release of those audio recordings raises questions about what's going on in the Attorney General's office that go directly to the need to pass the legislation that we had previously debated, House File 20. Although he has insisted that nothing came of the meeting, his office blocks disclosure of closed investigative
State your point
data.
of order.
Masons 124.
The A11 will help ensure that what happens behind closed doors in the Attorney General's office sees the light of day. We can protect people's privacy while shining a light on what the Attorney General's office is doing, who is influencing that office, whether it's those under a criminal investigation, nonprofits, corporations, or billionaires with political agendas, because Minnesotans have a right to know when their Attorney General's office is working with them. Minnesotans have a right to know whether the Attorney General is telling the truth, that nothing came of that meeting. That's why the A11 is so important.
And that's why they kept trying to shut him up. I love it when a plan comes together. Pretty much. Smith, our good friend that was investigating Trump. The docs had been reordered. He admitted to a crime. Just to remind everybody, this was played recently, I think.
Yeah, so that famous photograph, what we have now learned, and the government has had, Jack Smith and his prosecutors have had to admit that that was staged. And those top secret classified sheets that all the public saw and said, oh my God, look at those top secret documents, those were placed there by the FBI. And what Jack Smith admitted in court this week was that, in his word, they mishandled the classified documents and misrepresented those to the court. Maria, that's a kind way of saying we tampered with the evidence, then we lied to the court about it. And they got caught when President Trump's lawyers and the other co-defendants raised this issue and said, look, the documents here don't match up. The documents that were presented to us don't match the digitally scanned records of when they were taken from Mar-a-Lago. And Jack Smith, not only did they tamper with that and lie to the court about it, but he's now admitted to the court that he doesn't know how that happened. He's only offered a number of possible explanations for how that could have happened. So he's absolutely blown the chain of custody. And again, he has a prosecutor, lead prosecutor in this case, Jay Bratt, who met with White House counsel and a representative of the National Archives several times in the weeks before Jack Smith was even appointed. This reeks of crossfire hurricane when the Obama-Biden administration fabricated evidence before the FISA court, lied to the court about it to pursue Donald Trump, and now we're seeing it again in this classified documents case. The judge could dismiss this case at any point in time, Maria. I think the only reason...
One thing I have to say, at this point anyways, we know that all the fraud and abuse happened. And we know that Trump did executive orders that in, 30 days, he was going to get a report. Nunes supposedly didn't come through on that, right? Ratcliffe failed. All these people failed. I think it was Ratcliffe that failed. And there has been some blame pushed in these directions, which I find to be interesting, because I think Ratcliffe's actually a bang-up dude. And everyone's like, he didn't do it. He didn't push through. He didn't get all the proper stuff from the 18 agencies or whatever it is. And he could have, they could have done crazy things. They could have taken control. They could have done posse comitatus or whatever the thing is when you, basically take control, martial law. There's a lot of people that wanted Trump to do that. These are people you shouldn't listen to, by the way. They're people spreading misinformation. They're people that are trying to help the industrial complex a lot more than the people of this country. But these investigations, to my understanding, led to a reality that holy crap, this was even more extreme than we realized. The Venezuela thing plays into it. Frankly, there's finally been a chance. Over 4 years that Trump's been the commander-in-chief secretly. And plans they've made once they'd take back control. And how they would inform the public. That is what we're living through. The investigations were so bad that they would rather come out and say, nobody gave us the information. Sorry. Than even hint at the reality. We're now starting to get that reality. This couldn't have come out. They didn't have the time to play it up. It would have gotten buried, and they frankly tried to prove it. I mean, Giuliani did an amazing job, and poor guy lost all sorts of things in the process. We're in crazy places, guys. Very. Minnesota lawmaker Walz's team threatened whistleblowers with racism and Islamophobia slurs to hide the fraud that everybody is finding out about. Kathy Hochul, she's caving on the no tax on tips. Hopefully others do. $25,000, that's a big deal. She got a lot of shit for that. So good. So she's actually caving on that. California's open carry ban was shot down by the federal appeals court. And it was. Started with a bang just to make sure we've got one more enunciation in there. Or what are the onomatopoeia, I think is what they call it, right? Anyway, U.S. appeals court on Friday ruled that California de facto statewide ban on openly carrying firearms violates the U.S. Constitution. And there you go. You can't ban that. They're like, well, you can get a concealed carry permit or open carry. We just decided to do it under the concealed carry permit. But they don't offer those to hardly anybody. It's hard as hell to get one of those in California. Very difficult to get approved. Orange County is a little better than other places. I think the sheriffs sign off on it, but not easy. Well, I think a few people sign off on it, frankly, but whatever. I don't know enough about it. I don't ever want to get to the point where I feel like I got to carry a gun with me wherever I go. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to live in that world, per se. I have a few firearms, but don't want to ever have to walk around with them on me. If I have to, I've got the ability to do that. Again, I don't want to be at that point. You might like it. I don't know. You live in Texas, it's probably more comfortable. And again, I don't know if it's brought up with it or it seems like it increases risk. That's what I'm generally against is the oops moments, right? I just shot a hole in my floor. Damn it. Court reinstates school district employees' free speech lawsuit over anti-racism training. Yeah. Federal appeals court voted to revive a lawsuit by a school district employee who says they were forced to self-censor and make statements they disagree with to finish so-called anti-racism training. A lot of these trainings are set up just like you have to admit that you are part of the problem. It's like, I'm not, though. Just because you say I am doesn't mean I am. It's just like someone calls you a name. You know, everyone's like, sticks and stones. And they really, it's one of the hardest things, I think, for a lot of people, especially if you're going to be a creator of any kind or a leader specifically. You're going to frequently say things that people are not going to agree with. It's not comfortable, but that's what leaders do. I don't know why. That's where we went with that. Really? Double whammy. Plan to put something there, I think. British, what? Britain, England, fudge, whoever. What is going on? F-35s, people hopped over and spray painted a bunch of weird stuff on one of their bases recently. Now all of a sudden they're messing with, they just broke equipment that creates stuff to help F-35s be repaired and whatnot. Like some, I don't know, specific place. They broke into this Brunston Aero Products and they went on a smashing spree that produces precision parts and assemblies that become components in larger systems such as an electronic warfare or survivability system produced by Leonardo or others. Electronic warfare is a big deal. It's kind of what the United States is touting with its blackness things. Which is strange. We just create power outages wherever we go. How weird is that? Oops. And it's not an EMP. Everyone's like, oh, I did do an EMP. They don't need to, everybody. You're like 50 years in the past with your thinking. That's the problem. They don't need to do an EMP. What if China does an EMP? They don't need to. I mean, they could. It wouldn't kill us for the... Well, depends where they do the blast. There are ways where you can... Neutron bombs, all this crazy shit. But I don't think those things are allowed at this point, especially. So we'll see. Kremlin makes show of handing evidence to U.S. side proving Ukrainian attack on the Putin residence. They shared it with us. I'm not going to play the video. I'm already super duper long. Two more stories. The unreported story of grid-scale battery fires. This has happened. They're doing this in New York. They're doing this 2 places in California. These places catch fire on a regular basis. These are giant facilities that warehouse a bunch of lithium-ion batteries that are going to it's like your power wall. If any of you guys have the solar, like it's a storage, but they've got like hundreds of thousands of them. And these things charging and discharging quickly creates heat. These things heat up, they begin to boil and bubble. When that happens, they can catch fire. And when they do, they're hard to put out, and they cause fires to other nearby things, such as batteries that are already warm. These things are horrible. They had a bad fire in California where it burnt some reasonably high percentage of the number of batteries they had. Burnt them all, like 47, I don't know, like a bunch. And it destroyed 40% of the batteries. It was like insane how much damage happened in just one fire in one facility. Again, it's a stupid idea. These batteries, I got solar. I even kind of invested in a couple extra batteries, if you will, right? Like, and it's just like, with what things eat up electricity-wise, you need so many batteries for people. And then industry, I can't even relate to. It's such a giant number. Like, I can only relate to, like, what a household uses, or at least my small household. Very strange. 4,400 Starlink satellites are going to move to lower orbit. This is something to block other techs that, one, have launched above us, two, that we're probably have technology in Starlinks that allow us to block signals above in weird ways. There's people that have been saying that we're actually blocking the information that's coming from 3i Atlas. No, they're blocking some of the crazy stuff that other countries are trying to do from above. So they're moving 4,400 Starlink satellites closer to orbit, which means more of these are going to burn up, frankly, especially when we have solar storms. But it is a weird little thing that they're announcing. That's a lot of the satellites. They have many, many, many thousands of them. Supposedly they got more than 9,000, I think, at the moment. So half of them are going to be brought down to lower orbit. Wonder why. A lot of things are going on, folks. Things we'll never see. We'll only get snippets of. But, yeah. And then, hell, flat earthers, I don't even know what to tell you. Disregard, I guess. All said, I love you guys. We got a lot going on. Make your ripples in your own way. And just understand that we're all one. We're all moving in unity. We're all trying to get as many of us across the Red Sea before this thing gets weird. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.